move on to the next topic.
Oh,
We ran over a little bit on this one. So let's go to East. We're going to try to get two more in, and then we're going to shut it down.
All right.
East, fire shenanigan.
This is, I would say, shenanigans.
Shenanigans, okay.
Pretty true. Yeah.
Shenanigans.
So I think we can go through this kind of quickly. I saw Jay Williams, ESPN NBA basketball analyst, on Twitter. He went on Twitter to talk about how the NBA players in the bubble are complaining about the conditions in the bubble. And I don't know if you want
I'll play
to
it.
quickly.
NBA brothers, you cannot be tone deaf right now in this current environment. We all know the life that NBA players live. You are blessed. You get a chance to be in private
You
planes.
disagree, huh?
You get a chance to have millions of dollars in your bank account. You live a different level of life. If you want to complain about the anxieties you have from COVID-related issues, I get it. Complain about that. I want you to think about people who are everyday working people who are making minimum wage, trying to make ends meet, that are going to factories, that are going to really harsh working environments, where if anything, maybe their employers are doing less to ensure their safety because they're trying to increase the bottom line. They're trying to earn and make money back from all the money that they lost through the times that a lot of these states, individually governed, have been dealing with this issue. So when I see guys that are going into a $1 billion bubble, and are getting food delivered to them, they have beds to sleep in, you can't complain about that. Not while you're making millions of dollars, not while your employer is going through drastic measures to protect you while they're still paying you, when that's not the case for everyday, real working Americans. That bothers me. That bothers me.
All right, so my question is, although players in the NBA making millions of dollars, do they have the right to complain about what they feel their working conditions are?
Look at Lizzie last. Avi?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they can complain, but you just got to keep it in perspective, right? They still make millions. I mean, they still work for it, right? It's not like as if they wake up and all of a sudden they know how to shoot a ball or whatever. They can complain, but you got to put it in perspective that, like everything Jason Williams just said, is true, right? There are people out there who are working hard, just trying to make minimum wage, or who lost their job because the restaurant industry is going down badly, et cetera, et cetera. But they're allowed to complain. Why can't they complain? But keep it within reason, right?
My thought, real quick, is I agree with what he said. Shoot, I mean, like you say, you can talk about COVID all you want, complain about that, but one thing I didn't understand is he trying to say that they should just go to work anyway? Is that what they're saying? Or are they complaining about the conditions in the bubble?
He basically said, "Shut up, and dribble."
Wait,
That's
but I gotta be clear. Is he saying that you should just shut up and work? Like you should, if they say that we're going to continue the season, you should be, or is he saying that people are complaining about the conditions in the bubble?
Conditions in the bubble.
That's what I thought he was saying.
But why can't they complain about the conditions in the bubble?
Because their work environment is like cush.
It's a bubble. They can't even leave the bubble. Imagine being in an environment, you at least, all of us, even though I haven't left my house since mid-March, except to go across the street to the grocery store, we have the opportunity, the option to leave. The NBA is like, okay, we're going to force you to finish out this season.
Nobody's forcing anybody. They can choose not to, and they can lose their salaries and everything else.
And that's a force. But
that's not force.
It is a force. It's an employment force.
It's not. Nobody's forcing them.
It isn't force.
Then you're asking me to forfeit my job because I'm not complying to your bad conditions. You and I have the opportunity to leave our house and to go outside. They cannot go anywhere. Anywhere. They can't have any visitors. They can't go outside. We had 2 players this week who are now quarantined again because they broke the rules to go get some carryout. outside. Like it's very strict. Okay. But my point is that we all know that in this day and age, the way you complain is through and you get things done is through social media.
Yes.
You don't get things done just because you call up your boss, your CEO, and say XYZ or whatever. You put the spotlight nationally on your company, and that's how you affect change in this country. It may not be to everyone's liking, but that's how things happen. And the WNBA, Jason Williams, did the exact same thing. It wasn't just the multi-million-dollar players, the WNBA players who make no money. They make a fraction of what the NBA players make. And they too were on social media saying, look at the conditions we're living in. Look at the food that they're giving us. Look at how we're living and being expected to show up to practice every day and to play these games for a league that's still going to make millions off of us. Like I have no problem with them voicing their complaints. Like, and the NBA, let's be clear, the NBA has money to do better by their players. The fact that they're giving them, like basic cafeteria lunch food is ridiculous.
Are they giving them just cafeteria? I don't think they're just giving them cafeteria lunch
Did you
food.
see the pictures?
I didn't
At
see the
least they're
pictures.
at least they're giving the WNBA players basic
I mean, well,
and
maybe I'd complain about that if they're giving them cafeteria food. I get that.
it's
But
horrible. So why?
I just want to respond to something you said. I mean, well, first I want to read what Z said. I'm sorry, but if I didn't like my working conditions, my only option is to leave. It's not a go. That's what I think. And I keep seeing force. Nobody's forcing anybody. They can
But even
choose
if
to leave like those two guys did, and then there's a consequence to that. If I have a job and they tell me that I got to go back to work, I'm like, no, I'm not going back to work right now until you get things safe or you. That's a choice. So it's a choice to.
You still get paid, though, right?
Well, no, I won't still get. I mean, no, if I choose, I'm saying I may choose to leave my job if they're telling me I have to go back. No, that's a choice that I make. Nobody's forcing anybody to do
but
anything.
why can't you voice your complaint? Why can't you voice your displeasure? Because it's not just affecting you; it's affecting your coworkers as well. And in a COVID situation, once you leave the bubble, you come back, you still got to be quarantined when you come back. Like it's there's a lot that goes into this. I think we're asking a lot of these players, and not at least we're in terms of the league asking a lot of these players to be down there, to be away from their families. Again, they can't be in contact with anybody else. I have a former colleague that's
especially in
down
Florida.
there, especially in Florida.
That's
I have
true.
a
That's a
former
good
colleague
point.
that's down there. And it goes for the journalists as well. The journalists are also on lockdown. Like it's a
Which
bubble.
is fine. I mean, makes sense to me. If anybody, if you don't want to have the season, you don't want to do it, don't do it. I mean, no, and they have a contract. They're not going to be like fired.
Why give them the bare minimum? If throughout the regular season you've been giving them what they deem
I've got
to
to see these
be.
pictures you're talking about. I just can't imagine what you're saying as like cafeteria food in the same sense that
Oh,
I'm thinking cafeteria
it's
food.
not. It's not.
I read an article in Axial Sports, and
I
what
think
the
this is the last comment
reporter,
because
I
Gigi
think,
went by already.
yeah, they said the reporter said that the food does look bad, but it tastes a lot better than it looks, and that's kind of like minor to the conversation. You know, this is a difficult situation. Let's be honest. Like, this is
That's
unprecedented.
what that's
Yeah,
what you tell
that's
your
something you tell your kids, right? Right? Yeah, I know.
they go to Nana's house. No, it looks bad, but it tastes good. It tastes good. Like
It's
the
a difficult
NBA,
situation.
the NBA can afford to do better if they are, requiring all this sacrifice from their players at the bare minimum they can afford. And I guarantee you think the NBA owners and officials who are down there are eating the same stuff? No, they're
I
not.
don't know. Anyway, we got to move on. I just want to do some comments. There's a lot of back and forth on whether it's a force or not a force. Douglas Goodman said economic leverage, and I assure you, it's the owners who will be raking in the bucks, not the players. That's a good point. Vaughn Perry said, let's talk about how they're dogging Deladon.
Our girl, our home girl.
Next show.
Our
Next show.
hometown girl.
All right. There's one more comment I saw. Oh, he said Mike Winter said, you better not come from my Duke people.
They are not above Coach, and I'm a Dookie fan. They are not above Coach.
Oh, they're not. Okay.